At only 5'2" and 105 pounds, Mississauga jockey Sandy Hawley is among the true giants of the thoroughbred racing world. Because of his stature, a young Sandy, born and raised in Oshawa, Ontario, was encouraged by an uncle to consider being a jockey when he was in his teens.
We called Winfield Farms, which was close by, and my uncle said he wanted an interview with E.P. Taylor, but of course that was impossible. And we did have an opportunity to go and meet Duke Campbell, who took me under his wing and taught me all the fundamentals about working around horses and being a jockey.
While Sandy was anxious to ride, E.P. Taylor's seasoned trainer Duke Campbell wanted his eager young protege to learn everything he could about these temperamental creatures. But the young apprentice first had to endure the life of a groom.
I started on the racetrack in 1966. And I got to ride my first race in 1968. Avelino Gomez, he was my idol when I first started riding. I remember exercising horses, and I actually used to have dreams of riding in races with him.
They're at the post. They're off.
Hawley was a phenomenon from the very beginning, and the fans flocked to the tracks north and south of the border to see the daring young Canadian ply his trade. No one could harness the awesome, beautiful power of a thoroughbred in full flight better than the Sandman, as his fans called him. With his aggressive artistry, skill, and flair, Canada's crown prince of the sport of kings crossed the finish line over 6,000 times before hanging up his saddle in 1998.
Just instincts on, kind of how fast you're going, how much horse you have left, and when it's time to make your move.
Hawley and agent Colin Wick formed a partnership that would last almost his entire career. By the end of 1972, he had won more races than any other jockey on the continent. With an armful of awards and honors in hand, Sandy jokingly asked Wick, "What do we do for an encore?"
And I said, well, how about next year? How about if we try and break Bill Shoemaker's record? We'll go for 500.
Many thought legendary Willie Shoemaker's 20-year-old record for most wins in a single season couldn't be broken. But by December 1973, it belonged to the quietly determined 24-year-old from Canada.
We went for 500 wins, and we ended up with 515. But I'll never forget, Charlie Jr. was number 500, and that was one of the biggest thrill of my career.
It's apart. Here's the finish. Valley time by a head, winning the San Felipe Handicap with jockey Sandy Hawley aboard.
Throughout his 31-year career, Sandy Hawley had mounts in over 31,000 races with almost 6,500 wins at tracks throughout North America and around the world. His winning purses totaled over $88 million. Santa Anita in California, where he rode for 10 years, and Woodbine in Toronto, where he once won 7 races in a single day, were his favorite tracks.
I think probably my favorite win at Woodbine was in 1978, and it was on a horse called Regal Embrace. And the reason for that is it was the Queen's Plate, and it was for E.P. Taylor.
Along with many awards and honors throughout an illustrious career, Hawley considers his induction into the Mississauga Sports Hall of Fame a highlight.
My wife Lisa and I have loved it here in Mississauga. I love the city of Mississauga. Of course, 2 of my boys were born here. I only have 2 boys in my life, Riley and Russell, and they're both born in Mississauga. So it's a great city, and when I was inducted into the Hall of Fame, it was just a tremendous thrill.
Sandy Hawley, the greatest jockey Canada has ever produced.